sound of wedding bells. Well, all around the world, our girls will be girls.
Okay, children, let's take our seats.
Yeah, baby. We'll do it live. Fuck it.
Good evening, good afternoon. Hello, world. Hello. I am the godless universe. Well, not me personally, but Godless Universe, episode 5. This is episode 5. This is our first full week. It's been pretty amazing. It's been pretty amazing. You're doing it yourself. It's a lot of hard work. Oh man. It is. I've done a lot of things. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I've worked on Wall Street as a market maker, economic analyst. I've had businesses, screenwriter, many of my years screenwriting, and lifelong science nut since I could remember. Since I was 4 years old. I think I can remember looking up. Do you remember your first science thing where you kind of went, you remember what kind of fascinated you? I'm old enough to, Star Trek, right? The original Star Trek. They used to play it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You get home from school. We used to watch it. And nowadays, when you get episode or season 2, episode 9 of the, what is it? The dance, the dancing episode, right? Yeah. Really, applause for the dancing episode, right? This is something. So if you're a screenwriter, if you're a science fiction screenwriter, it's not something that you would, it's not my first instinct, right? There are 1,000 ways you could go with Star Trek. But this is what happens when people who are not into science fiction usurp the science fiction writing. They would never hire me to do a activist feminism video. They what? If they asked me, I'd write it. You want me to write it? I'll write it. I don't think I'm sure there are people that are much better qualified than I to write a script about activism, feminism. Although I think the Me Too movement is blowing up pretty good. Pretty good. It's, that is part of the devastation in Hollywood. The whole, what has happened? Wow. Talk about, putting the gun to your own head and shooting it. That's what Hollywood has done to itself. No, we don't want to make movies anymore or make money anymore. We will make movies. Actually, you know what? Warner, Zaslav at Warner is no slouch. He doesn't want to sell Warner. I'll guarantee you, he does not want to sell Warner to anyone. He wants to get rid of Discovery, and he wants to keep Warner. And he's going to. He's a Hollywood guy. He loves it. I don't think he's going to try and say no to any acquisition of Warner. Having worked at the stock market for many years, it's going to be hard to see how the government's even going to allow. Although I don't know, Trump. It's a little different than he's a little loose cannon in some of this corporate stuff. But anyway, guys, thank you for coming in for episode 5. First full week of Godless Universe. It's been pretty good. It's a marathon, not a sprint, right? Well, I'm not a good marathon runner, but I love this shit. I fucking love this shit. I do. Being a former musician on stage, doing this stuff is hard work, but when you get to it. And Tuesday next week, I am going to be doing Against My Better Judgment. Tuesday next week. That is don't tell me now. Oh yeah, right. No, Remembrance Day, November 11th, Veterans Day. November 11th. I don't know if that's the right day I announced it. It's CK Day, Charlie Kirk Day. I'm gonna go through all the evidence. And the answer is pretty clear, guys. This is not rocket science. And I'm just going to go through the evidence. I'm not going to show images. You can go look at the evidence all yourself. And after I'm done, I am 98% sure that you'll say, motherfucker, this guy, I think he's right. Or you'll say, exactly, that's what I thought. And it doesn't matter. I mean, all the stuff that's happening with the conspiracy theories muddies up the water. It's kind of similar to 9/11, but I didn't say that. That was someone in the studio audience that said that. But I tell you guys, the reason why nothing makes sense because every theory that's out there is not going to make sense because it's nothing close to what actually happened. I'll ask you one question. I'm going to put two things out there. Two things on the Charlie Kirk thing. Where are his parents? Where are his parents? And the second thing I will say, this is a big one. Why has no one asked this question? Where was he buried? Where? I mean, there was a memorial service. That's not a funeral. If I were to go see and visit Elvis Presley, I know where to go. I watch Spinal Tap. I know where to go. I know where to go see Jim Morrison. I knows it. I know where to go see JFK. Well, where's the resting place? There's a whole lot of other things. You know what? There's reasons things don't make sense. And if you just take it from a science common sense perspective, common sense and science kind of make the world it makes things go around a lot easier. And we're not here to kick the schnazzers in religion. Like religion could have its own place, right? That's fine. But on Tuesday, I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it. And that's all I will say about Charlie Kirk. CK. I'm going to call him CK. Just so that I don't get... I don't know. I know there's a lot of channels doing stuff, and who cares about this little godless universe channel? For now, it's little. Just for now. Every YouTube channel starts off small, so don't fuck with me. Just kidding. No, don't fuck. Yeah. Can I get something? Can someone thank you. Always a generous studio audience. Always. I don't even know. See, when I do the live thing, I don't like the headphones. So I have the way I have everything set up, I have the speakers on really low so I can kind of hear stuff, but it doesn't give me a good mix. So when I was a musician on stage, you get the mix, you got the monitor mix, kind of know where everything is sounding. Here, I kind of do things in a little bit of a Western way because I don't like and I don't have a sound person, so it's like, I am right now, I said that I am the smartest man in the room. Can I get an applause? The problem is, I am also the dumbest. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Of course, it is the whole reason that I am the only one in the room. And I like it's the totality of it. But guys, but Underworld, I announced this earlier this week. Kate Beckinsale, big Kate Beckinsale fan. Love the Underworld series. So when it comes to great female protagonists, Celine is one of those ones in the movie business that is believable, that goes through a real character arc. Like how kind of like Rey Palpatine is just good at everything as compared to Luke Skywalker, who showing a couple of scenes of her training does not show getting somewhere with, struggling. I mean, she was out there whooping Kylo Ren's butt. It didn't take long. To Rey, Skywalker had to work hard. But anyway, December 1st, December 4th, we are doing the Underworld series. Kate Beckinsale with the all the movies. We're going to do the back half. Just going to review them. It falls into our genre, the fantasy, sci-fi fantasy. Xmas Day, I'm going to do 8 hours. If you're not doing anything on Xmas, I'm going to do 8 hours. If you don't got family, you're bored, you need someone to hang out with, I'll hang out with anybody. Literally, I'll hang almost anybody. There could be exceptions. There could be, but I don't know if there are. I will literally hang out with anybody. I'm kind of a happy guy overall, But please hang out with me. You're always welcome. I thank everyone that's kind of comes and says hi to me. It's we're a young broadcast. We have a lot of people that pop in, and I appreciate it. And we're gonna keep doing. And Christmas Eve, Xmas Eve, we're gonna do 4 hours on Xmas Eve. So if you're not doing anything, please pop in. We'll do it. We'll have some. I'm having some vino. Cheers to your health. To my health, our health, and to the health, I know, of the studio audience. It's a great studio audience. I mean, you got a good-looking studio audience. You guys, you know what's really pissing me off? Have you guys been through that whole OneDrive experience now, where Microsoft, basically everything goes through OneDrive now? Windows 11. Everything goes through OneDrive, and it is so irritating. I mean, it's beyond irritating. I don't know if you guys have had the same. I know a lot of people I speak to have the same issues with OneDrive. Basically, now every one of your files goes through OneDrive. Everything. How is that even legal? Like, how does that how does a company come in and just say, look, you're going to load our software, you're going to do what we say, and we're going to use our system to. How does that even, you know what really pissed me off too with Microsoft? So I was still in Los Angeles, right? I just left Los Angeles after almost 20 years. It was in February, I get this email. I got the $9.95, 365, the 300, what do they call this? The program, right? You get all the things. The emails say they're going to increase the price to $13.95. $13.95, baby, for the basically going up, what, 40, I don't know, was it 40, 45%? Off the top of my head, the math is. Microsoft nets, not EBITDA net, we're talking net profit of like, what, 50 billion, 40 billion? What's their net? I haven't checked. It's about 40 billion net revenue. And so the increase, it's only $4 a piece. It's not the point. There's people that are freaking really hurting in this economy. And not only that, the CEO gets like $100 million a year now. They lay off 14,000, like thousands of people. Thousands more are coming. I mean, believe me, thousands more are coming. The tech wreck. You want to take more money. You want to $9.95 wasn't good enough for Microsoft 365. You got to take $13.95 because $50 billion net that you had wasn't good enough. Okay. I mean, nothing we can do. Okay, we'll pay it. Right? We'll pay it. It's OneDrive. It's or not OneDrive. Well, OneDrive's a whole other subject. But if something goes up from $9.95 to $13.95, that's $4 on $9.95. That's literally just over 40%. Because the $50 billion they netted wasn't enough. I mean, I don't know about that 50, but it could be 40 billion they netted. 40 billion net. Like, oh my. There was a time these tech companies, remember, I worked in the stock market for a lot of years. I worked in the markets for a lot of years as a market maker on NYSE and NASDAQ. Through the ECNs, ARCA, and you get level 3 access. It takes a long time to get there. And there was also an economic analyst, but it was crazy to think that any company was going to go over $1 trillion. Since COVID, this has been the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the world. Companies went from a few $100 billion to now NVIDIA at $5 trillion. Or is it the applause? I don't know which one it is. Microsoft, I think, did Microsoft hit the 5 trillion mark? This is, you take the top 6, 7, 8 tech companies and you've got the GDP of the United States. Like, what is too big? Like, what happens? When is like, where does it all stop? I can see a situation where these companies become so powerful, and I am a free market capitalist, man. But at the turn of the century, we had the what's his name? The Rockefeller, right? They were busted up. And actually all the stocks went up. That's what happens after a company gets broken up. All the pieces go up and it's actually worth more broken up than it is together. But this is a fraction of what's going on today. A fraction. Speaking of tech companies, guys, my buddy, my man, I called him to congratulate him. I left a voicemail, of course, because he didn't pick up my call. Elon Musk. Elon. Yeah, no, give it up for Elon. His package, Elon's package. Okay, that's enough. I gotta shorten that. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you. So now, look, like I say, I worked in the stock market as a market maker for years. I am a free market capitalist. Now, so the headline, Tesla says shareholders approve Musk's $1 trillion pay plan with over 75% voting in favor. First off, if 75% of the shareholders of Tesla voted for it, I'm down. That's cool. That's the way the system works. If it was so egregious and it was so bad for the shareholders, they're not going to vote for it. Another thing is Elon spent day and night. Tesla almost did not make it. A lot of people don't know that. What year was it? 17, 18, 19? He literally lived at the main Tesla facility. Because it was touch and go. It was touch and go for Tesla. And it was during that time that there were issues everywhere, building the vehicles and the software and everything. So to Musk's credit, without him, Tesla would be a dinosaur. I mean, Tesla would not be where it is today. So, and of course he founded he didn't, he founded the company with someone else, right? So it's not, a lot of people don't know that. You know what? It could be interesting to do a show on Tesla. The founding of Tesla. And Elon Musk he's a brilliant guy, right? So Tesla shareholders approved CEO Elon Musk's historic pay package at the company's annual shareholder meeting in Austin, Texas, the blue city in Texas. The company, now I don't like being political. I don't like there are some things on the left that but I was born in a communist country, okay? So you can't, but there's a lot of shit that goes on the right that makes you go, oh, fuck, please. Come on, please. So probably most people are like center, slightly right, I guess. The majority would be, kind of, ish. The company said that the proposal received 75% support. So 3/4 of the company is pretty big support. Tesla introduced the pay package in September. Tesla said shareholders voted in favor of CEO Elon Musk's $1 trillion pay plan. It's over a certain period of time with 75% support. Board members recommended shareholders approve the pay plan, which they introduced in September. Top proxy advisors, Glass Lewis. Proxy advisors are people where they have their shares and they have their proxy vote. They give it to someone else and these people vote as a group for everyone else's shares. So it is kind of, and ISS recommended voting, but they're pretty small in the big puzzle, right? They're not that big. But still, they again, this is the process. They tried to use their voting power to impose what they thought. It didn't work, obviously. Results of the vote were announced on Thursday at the company's annual shareholders meeting in Austin, Texas. The package, this is the juicy stuff. The package for Musk, already the world's richest person, consists of 12 tranches of shares to be granted if Tesla hits certain milestones over the next decade. It would also give Musk increased voting power over the company, acceding to demands that he's made publicly since 2024. The full award would give Musk, who already owns about 13% of the EV maker, more than 423 million additional shares and take his stake to 25%. I mean, 13% of a massive company is huge percentages. Usually it drops below 10%. 13% is pretty big. 25% is insane. But again, there wouldn't be a company without him. Musk would receive the first tranche of stock if Tesla hits market capitalization of $2 trillion. So it is rewards based, right? It is rewards based. Tesla's current market cap is $1.54 trillion. The next 9 tranches would be awarded if Tesla's value increases by increments of 500 billion up to 6.5 trillion. Musk would earn the last two tranches if the market cap rises by increments of 1 trillion, meaning it would need to hit 8.5 trillion for Musk to get the full package. Sounds fair, right? Shareholders come out on top, then Musk comes out on top. He's the main guy, right? With all the AI stuff and everything that's going on. It's really not the EV vehicles. We're talking about the robotic driving and the whole the Grok initiatives, AI and everything like that. Other goals tied to the pay plan include reaching 20 million vehicle deliveries, 10 million active SDB subscriptions, 1 million bots delivered, and 1 million robo-taxis in commercial operation. To date, Tesla has delivered more than 8 million vehicles, according to its September proxy statement. So it's very much, he's got to perform. So it's not like here's a bunch of cash and on your merry way. Musk has to perform. The proposed plan doesn't specify whether FSD subscriptions must be purchased or could be included in free trials. That means it could be included in free trials. Tesla currently provides partially automated driving systems, which it markets as FSD supervised in the US. The company intends to improve its FSD supervised systems so they don't require human supervision on board. So Tesla also laid out a series of earnings milestones beginning with 50 billion in annual adjusted profit. That's a lot of money. If he could get to 50 billion annually adjusted profit, moving up to 400 billion for his total pay package, okay, those are some serious milestones you got to hit. In the third quarter, Tesla reported adjusted EBITDA of 4.2 billion. He's got a long way to go. But you know what? Musk, he don't care. That's the kind of guy he is, right? Elon Musk. The pay package is freaking insane. Now, if you're a shareholder of Tesla, and you think Elon Musk can hit these milestones, you will be very, very wealthy holding Tesla stock. Elon Musk will be the first trillionaire easily if he hits these milestones easily. It goes on, but I don't want to cover the whole thing because I want to get to Star Trek and the warp stuff. But this is, but here's the thing: how a lot of the media packages this. Tesla shareholders approved Musk's $1 trillion pay plan, over 75% in voting. It's just a $1 trillion pay plan. Like, it's very, they make it sound until you get to the nuts and bolts of this stuff. And, reporters and journalists have become as dumb as they are. The day is long. But if they are politically motivated, if they're on the left, they're going to put it in a certain way. I wish the world wasn't like that. It used to be that the world wasn't. It used to be that the media wasn't like that. But it is, right? So, I want to take a sip of wine because it feels good. Wine feels good. Not too much. So anyway, guys, that is Elon Musk. So he's got his pay package. That's big news. There's also a lot of other news today, guys. Before we get to the Star Trek and the warp stuff, look at this. This is November 4th. So it's fairly new. Astronomers report. This is the shit that makes go. I'm just forever amazed. And I say, and the black hole, and I meant this is good going with the Star Trek and the warp drive stuff, because the black hole is basically the only thing that warps space and time, right? We know of nothing else that 100% observed and theoretically, mathematically, in the laws of physics, that warps actual space-time. Which is, when you take a look at the power of a black hole, you think, okay, well, good luck trying to control that one, right? You just don't put reins on it and put a saddle on it and go giddy up. Black hole ain't going to let you do that. I don't care what Fantastic Four says. It's going to take Silver Surfer a month to get out of a black hole. Okay, whatever. Astronomers report the biggest black hole flare ever seen with light, guys, with the luminosity of 10 trillion suns. Of course, when they say suns, it means our sun. With the 10 trillion suns, 10 trillion. There's 400 billion stars in our galaxy. So what is that? 25 Milky Ways? Did I get that right? 25 Milky Ways. The observed black hole flare is believed to be the largest and most distant one ever recorded, coming from 10 billion light years away. So this is about 3.8 billion years after the Big Bang. It's just fucking nuts. I mean, excuse my language. I didn't mean to say nuts. Astronomers have detected the brightest black hole flare ever recorded. And oh, geez, sorry, guys. Sorry. There we go. Astronomers report the biggest. So you know what? When you're kind of new to this, when you're the only one trying to, never mind. Let's move on. I got the right page up. Astronomers have detected the brightest black hole flare ever recorded, an event that shone with the energy of 10 trillion suns after a supermassive black hole began devouring a large star. Now this becomes even more nuts, if I can use a 4-letter word. Space.com reported this is really a one in a million object. It's way more than 1 in a million. This is like 1 in a trillion object. This is insane. Lead author Matthew Graham, a researcher professor of astronomy at the California Institute of Technology. The observed black hole, listen to this, seriously. The observed black hole flare is believed to be the largest and most distant one ever recorded, coming from 10 billion light years away. This phenomenon occurred when a massive star, estimated to be 30 times the mass of our sun. Do you know what other stars are 30 times the mass of our sun? Betelgeuse. Depends how you want to pronounce it. Betelgeuse. There is other star, like I think there's a lot of, by volume they're much bigger, but by mass, you're talking about, some of these red supergiants. 30 times a mass of our sun wandered too close to a supermassive black hole and was torn apart, releasing an enormous amount of energy. So you got this star, you got this massive star. Like, could you imagine like selling popcorn to like seats and watching this? Of course, it would take billions of years, maybe hundreds of millions. I don't know. Well, no, it wouldn't take that long to devour the star. I don't know how long it would take. Maybe I don't know. But at this point in time, it's being torn. Maybe a few thousand. I don't know. You know what? I really don't know. How long does it take to devour a star like that? But the star was torn apart. And actually, it wouldn't take that long because some of these supermassive black holes are chewing through stars through like 40 or 50, I think even 100 stars, sun stars per year. So it could have been devoured in 1 year. I got to stop and think sometimes. According to Graham, the massive outbursts in intensity and the duration point to a black hole flare as the most plausible explanation. Now, they can't be 100% sure, but this is kind of what all the evidence points to. Further studies will help confirm the findings. While black holes regularly consume nearby matter, an event of this magnitude is extremely rare, Graham noted. This massive flare is just so much more energetic than anything we've ever seen, he said, adding that at its peak, the outburst was 30 times more luminous than any previous black hole flare seen to date. So the most luminous one we've ever seen. This one's 30 times more. So it's not like there's like a close second. Like if you're not absolutely astounded by this stuff, you're not paying attention. Like there's people that they don't give a damn. They just watch their reality TV, right? The Bachelor or something. Okay, fine. Well, fuck, man. You're missing a lot in this world. I mean, if the mind isn't attuned to some of the crazy stuff in the universe. The extraordinary intensity of this event is partly attributed to the enormous size of the two cosmic objects involved. The star, estimated to be at least 30 times the mass of the sun. Even there's like the blue supergiants, right? They burn for like 10 million years, but they're much smaller. Like they are so dense, and they turn into black holes themselves. Was consumed by a supermassive black hole with a mass 500 million. By a supermassive black hole with a mass 500 million times, so it's 500 solar mass black hole. Now, it's not as big as Ton 618. This is a big motherfucking black hole. The resulting outburst, which began over 7 years ago, is likely, okay, there you go. 7 years ago is likely still ongoing. So it's taking a few years to It's probably feeding on other stuff, right? But this is just, this is just great stuff. Initially detected in 2018 during a sky survey using 3 ground-based telescopes, the flare was noted as an exceptionally bright object. However, follow-up observations months later yielded limited information. It wasn't until 2023 that distance measurements and observations from the W.M. Keck Observatory in Hawaii revealed that the flare's true luminosity, period. Graham noted that upon realizing its distance, the team was surprised, thinking, if it's that far away and still this bright, the energy output must be enormous. Well, yeah, probably enough to make a warp bubble or two. The team was surprised, thinking if it's that far away and still this bright, the energy output must be enormous. This realization sparked their interest, making them consider the phenomenon unusual and very interesting. Graham noted that the discovery sheds new light on black hole behavior, offering valuable insights into these mysterious cosmetic phenomenon. There was this classic image that most galaxies in the universe have a supermassive black hole in the middle, and it just sits there and these are astronomers talking, right? It just sits there and burbles along, and that's it. That's why you go get your astronomy degree, so you can use words like burbles. Burbles. I like it. I like this guy. Now we know it's a much more dynamic environment, and we're only beginning to scratch the surface. Scratch. Awesome article, man. That's an awesome article. 10 trillion, the luminosity of 10 trillion suns. It kind of falls right into the whole Star Trek warp thing, right? And today, actually, because look, the whole Star Trek and the whole idea of warp drives, it's the thing that there's people are incredibly passionate about this stuff, right? The amount of energy, I mean, there's a lot of issues associated, even just the engineering part of like, can you imagine the testing phase of trying to develop a warp bubble? Where do you test it? You can't do it close to Earth because there might be no Earth left. How do you do the engineering? Like, I know people's excitement for the idea of Star Trek. It's my favorite sci-fi show. I grew up with Star Trek. I graduated in 1985. Like, that's Kirk, Spock, those are my guys. No one wants warp travel more than me. We'll have, there's a lot of shows coming up on warp travel. And today we're going into the Alcubierre drive and some of the issues with it. Now, the fact that, yes, the math works. Just because it works mathematically, think of the engineering. Okay, all of a sudden now you got to build it. Where are you going to build it? How are you going to take all that material and fly it into space? Where are you going to get the energy? How do you hold the warp bubble open? But anyway, Alcubierre, it's an interesting, it's just the start of the whole Star Trek warp thing. We're going to get into it. But Avi Loeb, my friends, Avi Loeb, the astronomer, like, my feelings on Avi Loeb. He's still spewing that it's a frickin' alien ship. Yeah, thank you. The studio audience agrees with me. Thank you. Fun with noise. This is technology. The fact that, guys, actually, if you talk about technology and science, the fact that I can sit here and do all this by myself. This couldn't be done 2 years ago. Or maybe it could, but not to this degree. This could not be done 2 years ago. What I am doing myself, every single day, creating content and actually projecting this into the world by myself. Yes, it doesn't go smoothly. Yes, I fuck up a lot. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I don't mind fucking up because you know what it proves? That I am a human being. Yes. I am far from the best at everything. Far from it. And I certainly hope that when, people send messages, I get schooled and stuff, and I have no problem with that. I got no problem learning. I cannot be as smart as hundreds, thousands, 10 people, like the sum of the 10, what people, so I love learning, man. But This is just what you can do now with technology is insane. But it is enjoyable. It's a little crazy trying to keep up with everything. But Avi, did I mention Avi Loeb? Avi, I'm still waiting for a phone call from Avi. Do I call Harvard this time? Hello, is that him texting? No, it wasn't him. Do I call Avi and say, look, it's a bet. You're taking the alien side. I'm taking the non-alien side. The loser has to eat just a little plate of squirrel poop. Just a little bit of squirrel poop. Doesn't have to be a full plate of squirrel poop. It's got to be a few nuggets. Okay? That's the bet. Avi, you're taking the aliens. I am taking it's just a fucking comet. Okay? You want to take that bet, you got to eat 5 nuggets of squirrel poop. Who are the loser? I'm ready to go. But Avi's making more comments today because finally we can see the first picture was taken of 3i Atlas coming around the sun. He's still yakking. He's still yakking. But first, astronomer reveals first look at comet 3i Atlas as it reappears from behind the sun. Now, this is actually November 3rd, but things have happened since then. We'll just touch on this briefly. An astronomer has snapped comet 3i Atlas using the Lowell Observatory's powerful Discovery telescope, as well as his own small telescope. And actually, I guess you can do that, right, with a home telescope, based on the angle where you are and a direction in the sky. The new photos are believed to be the first optical observations of the interstellar visitor since it disappeared behind the sun. There it is. Happy Jack, Arizona. I would like to live in Happy Jack. How do I'm going to move to Happy Jack, Arizona. People will ask you, where do you live? I live in Happy Jack, Arizona. Why would you not be happy in Happy Jack? Are there people that are like not happy in Happy Jack? Like I am depressed in Happy Jack? Doesn't make sense. Let's move on. The interstellar comet 3i Atlas has become visible from Earth once again after zooming behind the sun, new images reveal. An astronomer used the Lowell Observatory's powerful Discovery telescope in Arizona to snap what is believed to be the first optical post-perihelion. I always get messed up with this word, man. It terrifies me. And of course, the cursor's over. Perihelion shot of the interstellar visitor on Halloween, Friday, October 31st. I miss Halloween. I like Halloween. But it's of course the perihelion when the sun and everything is like you can't see the thing. It gets lined up. And Kuijing Zhang, a postdoctoral fellow at the observatory, has subsequently found that the comet is also visible. This is interesting, right? Is also visible using small telescopes, posting an example of this to his commentary blog on Sunday, November 2nd, which I won't go to, but you just gotta believe me, man. According to Zhang, standard amateur telescopes should now start picking up the comet across much of the northern hemisphere. Notice how he says comet. Kuijing Zhang is not saying the alien spaceship. Guys, it's simple. It's simple math. If you're going to send a 10-mile, 12-mile, I don't know how do we know how big it is? I don't think there's been no definite size of 3i Atlas. If someone's going to send a freaking 10-mile fucking spaceship to our solar system, they're as dumb. They do not deserve to be an advanced civilization. You would send thousands of nanobots because you could send those things at high speeds using very little energy, and you put little cameras on them so you can record it, and you could fly right onto Earth. If you've got that technology, why would you send a freaking mothership? Anyone who believes that there's any chance of 3i Atlas being, I'm going to say it. Oh God, I'm going to say it. This is me getting upset. Okay. I am upset right now. I'm fucking mad. If anyone thinks that 3i Atlas is a mothership or an alien ship, you're an idiot. Okay, I said it. You're a freaking idiot. And no call from Avi Loeb. No freaking call with the squirrel poop. Okay, I've had my piece. That's the most animated I've become on that subject. Maybe I'll call Michio Kaku. He doesn't take my calls either. They don't take my calls. So all you need is a clear. So basically, okay. So now Avi chimed in. Okay, that's why I bring it up. Avi chimed in. Here he is. Alien spaceship. Latest 3i Atlas image shows lack of tail. Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb questions the comet theory once again. Oh, fuck, I need a drink. All right, Avi. There's reasons, ladies and gentlemen. There's reasons. He's saying, distractions. Do you guys remember 1996? I know. We got to get to Star Trek. We got to get to Star Trek and warp drives. That was like the whole reason. But you know, that's always like that's like the premier event. This is like it's coming. But we got to get through that. You remember Hale Bopp, 1996 or 7? I got to check on that. So Hale Bopp. Is a comet that disaster. Hale Bopp 1997. So the term Hale Bopp disaster most commonly refers to the Heaven's Gate cult mass. I can't say that word. In March 1997, where people sort of thought they go to the other side, they're going to end up in Hale Bopp, at a spaceship behind Hale Bopp. I don't know. So Avi Loeb wasn't part of that group yet. Like he wasn't thinking Hale Bopp. Hale Bopp comes around every 2,534 years. So basically, the last time was before Alexander the Great. My last name is Alex, and it has nothing to do with him. But it's not even flattering. I don't even know why I mentioned it, but I did. Studio audiences. So, I mean, I could share this tab. I mean, it's the term Hale Bopp disaster most commonly refers to the Heaven's Gate where 39 members died in March 1997 in Rancho Santa Fe, California. I mean, it's California. I spent 20 years in California. I know California. The group's leader, Marshall Applewhite, believed that a spaceship was following the comet and that their souls could ascend to a higher next level by leaving their earthly vessels. The event occurred as a blind faith. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not put anyone's religion under the bus. I won't. Blind faith. That's what you got to question sometimes. You got to before you drink the purple Kool-Aid, just ask a couple of questions. Okay, look, if I drink this stuff, if I drink the purple Kool-Aid, Jonestown, Hale Bopp, if I drink the purple Kool-Aid, what's going to happen? Just asking, you know? So basically, Hale Bopp, that was a comet that, and back then everyone thought these people were wacko. Of course, you'd have to think that. You have to think that. Where are we? Now, Avi Loeb comes out with all this bullshit. Why does it have so much nickel in it? Well, it's been traveling for billions of years. It didn't form in our solar system. How many different diverse solar systems are there with different compositions? So it had more CO2, more nickel, more like refined nickel. Well, it's been traveling for billions of years. Like, this is not complicated. There's only one guy spewing this shit, and he's getting all the clicks on YouTube, and it's making science look stupid. I don't need Avi Loeb to make me look stupid. I can do that on my own. But Harvard astronomer Avi Loeb questions the comet theory. If 3i Atlas were indeed a comet, its trip around the sun in late October and the consequent solar heating should have triggered significant sublimation, turning ice to gas to create a massive luminous cloud of gas and dust or tail, which are typical for comets. Well, it did to a different degree. And of course, there's reasons for that, which I did research and I've totally forgot. The buzz around interstellar object 3i Atlas, hypothesized by some to be anything from an exotic comet to a piece of alien technology. No. Why are you putting other scientists in that? Why? I don't see any other astronomer, and I could be wrong. Please text or email me, comment me, whatever. These astronomers are saying the same thing. It's Avi Loeb, for crying out loud. is taken upon an unpredictable turn with a new image taken post perihelion, showing that the object lacks a prominent cometary tail, something that should have been visible following its recent trip around the sun. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you an alien spaceship. Okay. That's all the evidence I need. If this was the level of evidence you could even need to start talking about this shit, then religion has to have a place in his heart. And look, keep your religion. I don't care. I'm not. Science isn't out to disprove shit. Science comes out with theories and then it proves it. But when you start talking about this stuff, Avi, you look kind of like, dear God, how did Oumuamua work out with the spaceship idea back then? It didn't work out too good. This is making you look stupid. I'm just saying. Now, if I'm wrong, which I don't think I am, I will eat the squirrel poo. But if you're wrong, you eat the squirrel poo. You want to take that bet? I'm waiting for your phone call, man. Phone's here. We may be a small channel, man. But someone talk to him. Danny Alex is waiting. The squirrel poo challenge. If it's an alien ship, I'll eat the squirrel poo. Since its discovery, the true nature of 3i Atlas, the third known interstellar visitor to our solar system, has been the topic of immense speculation on YouTube for fucking clickbait. If you watch any of those videos on YouTube, if you do the search, I will not do videos on that. I have done a video on Avi Loeb's alien spaceship delusion. I will not come close. I mean, guys, I think someone texted me today that said there was another signal. Someone said there was another signal coming out. Of course, he preceded by, I actually, after LO didn't precede it, but followed it up by LOL. Despite assurances from NASA and other space agencies that 3i Atlas was a mere comet visiting from another star system. So other space agencies and NASA, if they cannot convince you, the whole Mars thing. What is it called? I forgot the name. I'm so bad with names. It's like a disease. Like I'm like name stupid. But with the pyramids and the face, all that, and they ask, well, why doesn't NASA want to solve it? It's easy why they don't want to solve it, because the mystery keeps people interested in Mars. I think it's all been fairly debunked, but if you want the money to continue to Mars, people have got to be talking about it, right? You got to be talking about it. Now, there's some interesting things about the moon, which I'm going to get into. The what's it called? The Bell thing. Why are all the craters a certain depth? There's some interesting things about the moon. But when it comes to some of this stuff, why does NASA want these mysteries? Funding. Because the public has got to be talking about this stuff. If I was the head dude at NASA, I'd say the same thing. Let them talk. Man, we need action, man. We need people hamming it up. But this Avi Loeb shit, excuse my four-letter language. I mean, I'm just astounded that it's just like, why are you grouping other astronomers in with this? It's fucking Avi Loeb. Take the O out of country. Take the O out of country. What do you get? I'm not going to say it. Theories about 3i Atlas and speculation about its true nature. Well, here you get the statement. We're also fueled by Harvard astrophysicist. That's a strong word, astrophysicist, man. Astrophysicist and preacher Avi Loeb, who made several claims that it could be an advanced alien probe. I mean, that's stand-up comedy stuff. Avi. The studio audience is having a chuckle at this. As speculation continued to mount amid high-profile media coverage, scientists had hoped to lay the buzz to rest with images from 3i Atlas trip around the sun. But no, Avi chimed in. And the entire YouTube science verse, all the clickbait nut jobs, we'll do it next week. We'll do another 3i Atlas on YouTube search and we'll go through all the headlines. There'll be like AI Michio Kaku, AI Neil deGrasse Tyson. There'll be like, now it's sending out, it fired lasers at us. The mothership has fired lasers at us. Oh my God. That, however, is unlikely to, where are we? I am really worked up. This is me angry. This is the way I look angry. Angry is not a good, it's never a good emotion. It always results in bad stuff. But so yeah, that, however, it's unlikely to allay concerns with freshly released image fueling further confusion. No, the image didn't allay confusion. It was some guy whose name starts with A, ends with I, with a V in the middle, who fueled it. What did the new AIS show? The latest image of 3i captured by the RNA's observatory in Spain showed that the object lacked a typical cometary tail. If 3i Atlas were indeed a comet, its trip around the sun in late October and the subsequent solar heating would have triggered significant sublimation, turning ice to gas to create a massive luminous cloud of gas or dust or a tail. How about we ask this question? How about we ask that? Okay, stop that stupid line of questioning, Your Honor. Ask the question, why would they send a 10-mile spaceship to just kind of fly around? You're going to spend, so it's 50 light years away. I think the math is like 10% of the total output of our sun's energy to get a ship that big to even get here. Why would you spend that much energy to send a 10-mile spaceship to fly by us? This is not an advanced civilization, my friends. This is not an advanced civilization. This is stupid on steroids. This is stupid on steroids. Had there been visual confirmation of said tale, it would have laid the rest of the large chunk of speculation to rest. No, it wouldn't have. I know, and I forgot what the reason was. I did Google it, but I'm so worked up, and I don't, I'm gonna sit around, poking away at what the reason was. So anyway, that's 3i Atlas. I did not expect to spend this long with. I did have some other stuff, some of the nickel to iron ratio with 3i Atlas resembles additional early observations showed high nickel vapor. There's reasons for all of this. This is really interesting. So do you guys know this? We're going to get to Star Trek and the warp drive. Do you guys know? If the sun became a black hole, now it's not big enough to become a black hole. I think it'd have to have at least another 50%, 80% more mass, or at least call it twice more mass to have a chance at collapsing itself into a black hole. Could be even more than that. Every time you go live, you become like 26 IQ points dumber. You do. You just forget stuff the second you go live, because when you go live, it's like recorded, right? Well, you're just talking casually. All the facts just come very fast. But if the sun, at its current size and its current mass, not size, mass, because that's what matters. Volume doesn't matter. It's just mass. It would be a radius of 3 kilometers, 2 miles, 2-mile radius, 4-mile diameter, 6-mile 6-kilometer diameter. Take our sun, shrink it down, compress it to 6-mile diameter. 6 kilometer. Damn it. 6 kilometers. 3-kilometer radius. That's a black hole. That's insane. That is insane, my friends. But anyway, we got to move on. Right? So
Alcubierre warp drive.
Okay. So the Alcubierre warp drive, and I thought, you know what, the whole idea behind the warp drive in Star Trek. This is such a large subject. There's no way. So I'm going to play one. I did this video. And it's on the Alcubierre warp drive. Basically, he was in the 1990s the first one that actually used math to show that it could work. Now, his math resulted in the use needed the energy of the entire observable universe for the warp drive to work. Since refinements, you know what? Well, it's in the video. And so basically, it's the start of the conversation. The Star Trek warp drive, because Star Trek is to me is the number one science fiction show. Gene Roddenberry. Oh, Gene Roddenberry. I love Gene Roddenberry. And I love the people that had a stake in creating the GOAT, the original Star Trek. Because, that really had a lot to do with Dune happened before that. Dune was 1965. Dune is amazing. What an amazing story. Even the physics, which is very fantasy orientated, but it's incredibly interesting. Oh, sorry. What is going on? Yeah. So Star Trek, the whole Star Trek and the warp drive thing, this is a huge subject. We're not going to cover it today. We're not going to cover it next week, the week after. This is ongoing. And there's people that think that the warp drive, I mean, these are tenacious people on both sides. The warp drive is going to happen. And of course, the other side, it's impossible. Where do I sit? I kind of sit more on the side that it's impossible. A warp drive, I think, is impossible. And there's a lot of reasons for it. Is it possible theoretically, Yes. Yes, but we have found no evidence. The only thing that bends space-time is a black hole. We find no one screwing around black holes. Now we're actually seeing black holes. If something or some civilization has warp drive anywhere close to us, you can't go warp 10 because that's everywhere all at once. But warp 9.99999, whatever speed it becomes, you're traveling the galaxy. And I'll tell you, if we could do warp, we would be going to so many different solar systems, right? But then you need the material. So if you look at, there's a one in the movie, and they did get this right in the, what's his name? Chris Pine. When it crashes, it actually hits the Earth and it doesn't break apart. The idea is because you need such strong metallic alloys to build a starship, a US, that it's so strong that it actually, if it wasn't that strong, you couldn't actually, go and fly through space. So we need alloys that are we need to develop new metals, new alloys that are so powerful that there's so much standing in our way. I know the dreamers. Look, most of our scientific things that we've discovered have been within our atmosphere, not outside of our atmosphere. It's been within our atmosphere. So when you talk about people like using flight as some sort of equal to warp drives, no, that's within our atmosphere. We could do great stuff within our atmosphere. You get outside our atmosphere, you're dead in 10 seconds, 12 seconds, 15 seconds, dead. Not to mention the radiation, not to mention all those gravity. How do Elon's talking about flying to Mars. What about the gravity? Gravity, we don't know what 30% gravity on Mars is going to do to us. What happens when there's babies? It's a good looking baby. What's wrong with it? It's kind of long. There's issues. There's major. How do you test and engineer a warp drive? What if you create the first bubble? How do you keep it open? How do you maintain the bubble? What if it explodes on you? Do you create a rift in space-time? You've distorted space-time. You've already done it. What if the first test doesn't work out and explodes on you? Do you put a rift in space-time that basically fucks up our entire solar system, ends life as we know it anywhere close to us, including our life? These are things, okay, yeah, I'm sure there are people that could say, okay, Danny, there's workarounds, there's solutions. Okay, I love, there's going to be some heated debates. But anyway, let's begin.
The Alcubierre warp drive, proposed by Mexican physicist Miguel Alcubierre in 1994, is a theoretical concept that imagines traveling faster than light by warping space, rather than moving through it in the traditional sense.
Now, obviously, Alcubierre, he didn't come up with this. He just came up with the physics, right? This is actually long before Gene Roddenberry. It's been sort of out there, the whole idea of warping space. So Gene kind of took some establishing things and turned it into something way before it was physics said, yes, we can do it. Way before that. Take a look at everything that Star Trek actually had, right? So teleportation, I don't think is ever going to work, regardless of what Reed Richards says in Fantastic Four. You can go to an egg to a planet. Going from an egg to a planet, well, the only problem is scale. That's the only problem. Egg to a fucking planet, you dumbass Marvel writers. I will not swear. I have been swearing, haven't I?
Inspired by the science fiction movie and TV show Star Trek, Alcubierre's idea tries to develop the warp theory to allow humanity to bypass the universal speed limit set by the speed of light. The Alcubierre warp drive operates on a principle of space-time manipulation, Rather than moving a spaceship faster than light, the drive would manipulate the fabric of space-time around the spaceship. Space-time, in simple terms, is the fabric of the universe, a four-dimensional concept that combines space and time into a single framework.
Now, the idea of a four-dimensional framework, now it's actually spatially it's three dimensions, right? So for the purpose of Einstein's theory of relativity, time is the fourth dimension. Spatially, time is not the fourth dimension. There's two ways to look at fourth dimension, spatially or temporally, right? Where time, you can look at the fifth dimension as also being a temporal or spatial. So there's two different ways of looking at dimensions. We don't know, if spatially a fourth dimension exists, but a fourth dimensional being is going to have a three-dimensional shadow. Just like in the three-dimensional world, our shadows are two-dimensional. Basically, a fourth dimensional being could see us, a 360-degree image of us. We can't imagine that, right? We can't see the behind because we see the front. But that's what a fourth dimensional being would see. They would see a 360-degree image of us. Whatever that would look like, we don't know. But so the whole idea of a fourth dimension is it's based on Einstein. Einstein needed the time to be the fourth dimension for the purpose of space-time, relativity, and everything like that. And it works. So
Large objects like planets and stars curve this fabric, creating gravity. In the case of the Alcubierre drive, the idea is to use a similar warping effect to move a spaceship. In the proposed model, a spaceship would sit inside a warp bubble, a field of space-time that contracts in the front and expands in the back. This warp bubble would theoretically allow the ship to surf across space without actually moving through it. By creating a wave in the fabric of space-time, the ship could be carried along with this wave, traveling at speeds faster than light relative to outside observers.
that is one of the coolest pieces of it. I actually slowed that down. The USS Enterprise. I slowed this down. Actually, I think it's slowed by
A wave in the fabric of space-time, the ship
250%.
could be carried along with this wave,
that is so cool.
traveling at speeds faster than light relative to outside observers.
That is so cool. If you want to try and visualize what traveling through, the whole warp thing, that's a pretty good visual depiction of what warp is going to look like, right?
In this scenario, the spaceship wouldn't be moving through space in the conventional sense, which means it wouldn't be violating the limit of the speed of light. Instead, it would simply be riding the warp bubble, which is not restricted by the same laws.
Now, there is a problem with that. Yes, the space bubble is not going the speed of light. That is true, but there's many issues. You're still breaking certain things, the natural order of the universe. Will nature allow that to happen? It's like entropy. Nature, the laws of nature forbid anything in the universe to live forever. The laws of nature forbid immortality. That is entropy. The laws of nature work unequivocally. You will never fall up. You will never show me a picture of something falling up unless you reverse it. It's a fake, right? So the idea that you can create a space bubble and that bubble can ride a wave of space-time faster than the speed of light. Look, there's some astrophysicists say yes. There's a lot of astrophysicists say no, you will not do that. No, my friend, no. So it's not science. It's not settled science. Not even close. It's settled fantasy, science fiction. It's not science fact.
However, while this concept is scientifically interesting, there are major challenges in making it a reality. One of the biggest obstacles to the Alcubierre warp drive is the sheer amount of energy required. In Alcubierre's original calculations, the energy needed is astronomical, about the same as converting the entire mass of Jupiter into energy.
And I actually made a mistake there. That was actually the subsequent calculations made by, I forgot who. His initial calculations were the amount of energy needed to actually create a warp bubble was the entire mass of the known universe. I mean, that's big enough. So if you're going to, now it's been whittled down to the size of Jupiter. 1,000 Earths can fit inside Jupiter. So if you're going to build a warp drive and to create a warp bubble, you're going to need to take the mass of Jupiter and, and convert it into energy. If I may, excuse me. Good luck with that. These are problems. And I know that there's been some other things that have just come up that suggest you don't need to use antimatter, to combine to create massive amounts of energy. And of course, in Star Trek, they use the dilithium crystal. Dilithium is an actual real gas. Dilithium is a real gas that exists, but dilithium as a crystal at room temperature that doesn't exist, and it somehow takes the matter antimatter energy and then turns it into the stuff that create the. I mean, what? I mean, that's a pretty big leap right there, right? At least the way Star Trek is not going to happen. But even with Alcubierre, with the warp drive, how are you going to engineer this? It's not like we can build a spaceship and like how do you, there's issues, my friends. There's issues.
Bending space-time on such a massive scale requires an immense amount of negative energy or exotic energy such as dark energy, which is itself theoretical. For comparison, all of humanity's energy consumption to date is equivalent to a drop in the ocean compared to what a warp drive would need to be functional.
Did you hear that one? It's a dose of reality. All of the energy ever created since the beginning of the human species, I guess that includes the fires, when we were like running and chucking spears. That includes all the fires we built. It includes the fires. It includes every night over the past decades of electricity. Take all the energy we've ever created and consumed is not enough to even open a one warp. Now, yes, we want to be optimistic. We are humans. We are by default, we are a curious species. I am curious. I'm a curious species. I'm the first. I dwell in science fact. As a screenwriter, I write science fiction. The two aren't the same, right? The science fact and science fiction aren't the same. Science fiction is the fantasy of it, some of which are possible. I'm doing a video on the Halo, the game Halo. I'm doing a video, hopefully going to release on Sunday, about the Halo propulsion system. It's, all this stuff is bad. I just did Dune. I did Star Wars. I did Star Trek. I got this chubby. Can I say that on? Can I say chubby? Maybe. On each, like Battlestar Galactica has its own, right? Stargate has its own. Halo, all these, you don't even just talk about movies and TV shows. You've got video games, video games that have their own method of science. And so Halo, I'm working on Halo if I can for Sunday. It's pretty fascinating. It's in depth, but anyway, let's move on.
There is simply no way to produce or store this kind of energy, let alone control it to create a warp bubble. The Alcubierre drive doesn't just require enormous energy, it also requires an equal amount of negative energy. In the context of physics, negative energy or exotic matter is a theoretical form of matter that has a negative mass, meaning it would react oppositely to gravity, pushing away rather than attracting. Negative energy is.
And of course, the big thing with negative energy, we've never seen it. It does actually, in the quantum world, it actually shows up for like split seconds. Negative energy doesn't exist anywhere. So, and I know that there have been, I forgot this, the Wolf Project, something like that suggests that they can create a warp bubble not using negative energy. Like, okay, so it doesn't matter if the math works. It doesn't, like, okay, that's fine. The math works. It's the engineering. It's everything else beyond that. The math can work. We can make a lot of things work with the math. Doesn't mean it could be engineered and built, negative energy is a problem. It's a big problem.
It's crucial for a warp drive because it's needed to create the expansion and contraction of space for the warp bubble. The problem is, negative energy has never been directly observed in the universe. It's a concept that exists in theoretical physics, and although it appears in small amounts in quantum physics, these amounts are far too small and fleeting to be useful for a warp drive. Without the ability to produce or harness negative energy in massive quantities, the Alcubierre drive remains purely theoretical.
I do I do question because the whole idea of matter, antimatter coming together, the energy release is just huge. That's the kind of energy. Now, when energy of that magnitude is released, how do you control it? I mean, you got to answer these questions. It needs to be controlled. And if you're going to bend space-time, how do you direct it? And then you create this bubble. How do you keep this bubble open? I mean, I question whether you can get that much energy out of something that doesn't deal with antimatter. I mean, I could be wrong. I mean, send me info. I mean, right now I am the dumbest guy in the room. I'm the only guy in the room, but that still makes me the dumbest. Also the smartest. Thank you. No, studio.
But let's say that somehow you could generate the required energy and negative energy to create the warp bubble. The effects of such an extreme space-time distortion could be catastrophic. Bending space-time enough to create a warp bubble would produce enormous gravitational forces around the ship, certainly enough to crush it and kill any passengers inside if it's not controlled. In addition, the space-time distortion would generate intense radiation.
We all remember the Titan submersible. I mean, that was what happened with the Titan submersible was terrifying. It's terrifying. The idea of what, I mean, now the good thing is that the Titan submersible got crushed in a split second. They didn't feel anything. But if you're in a warp bubble and it collapses, I mean, you just multiply by 1 trillion. And if a warp bubble collapses, does that make a rift right in the middle of space-time? What happens? What happens if we're testing it? In the warp bubble, well, we've had a failure and we've got a rip in space-time just beyond the moon. And we should have did it farther out. Yeah, you should have. There's things, like there's stuff that when you got to think, it's crazy.
As the ship travels through space in a warp bubble, particles encountered along the way would become trapped in the bubble, building up energy and emitting deadly levels of radiation when released. This idea tries to develop the warp theory to allow humanity to bypass the universal speed limit set.
Oh no. I'm sorry. Here we are. So what happens is, the problem is, so as the warp bubble goes through space, right? So you create this warp bubble. As it goes through space, so you've got the bubble is space. So people inside there, they're not affected by anything, theoretically. It goes through, but as you're going through, all this radiation collects on the front of the bubble. Because there's radiation throughout the universe, right? Throughout open space. And there's very significant pockets of radiation. It collects, and now at the end of your bubble, if you go, let's say 10 light years, there is a massive amount of radiation around the warp bubble. If you just come out of the warp bubble, and you've got this massive amount of radiation that would instantly annihilate you in a split second, I don't think anyone has come to the theoretical math to say, we can get rid of all that radiation. If we create the warp bubble, we can get rid of all that radiation that accumulates going 10 light years from now. And look, it's not an issue, people. Let's just focus. It's not. It's a big issue. Radiation fucks up the human body. Radiation. Jupiter. You go to Jupiter. Why can't we go to Jupiter? Because the radiation of Jupiter will kill us.
And kill any passengers inside if it's not controlled. In addition, the space-time distortion would generate intense radiation. As the ship travels through space in a warp bubble, particles encountered along the way would become trapped in the bubble, building up energy and emitting deadly levels of radiation when released. This effect, known as Hawking radiation, could make the inside of the warp bubble highly dangerous. Such extreme conditions would make it impossible to safely travel in the warp bubble without exposing passengers to lethal doses of radiation. But let's assume a warp bubble could be created and sustained and done so safely.
It's almost like to find all the problems, you got to say, okay, let's just assume that we find the solution. And let's say there is a solution available. Let's say we find one. Let's say there's like, and that's kind of like the steps you go, at least these are the steps. So when I made this video, I always make a video based on, let's find the barriers to trying to produce this. But at each step, let's assume that we find the solution. Let's go to the next barrier. How massive are these barriers to getting all the way to the end, right?
There would still be massive challenges in controlling it. The Alcubierre warp drive does not address how to steer a warp bubble or how to stop it once it reaches its destination.
That's actually one of the things with the warp. I love that. You know, there's some things that, what's his name? The dude that did the 2 Star Trek movies. They weren't great movies, although I love the casting. I love the casting of, I'm so bad at remembering. Chris Pine and Zoe Saldana. Great casting. There's no reason a Star Trek movie is not doing $1 billion. Like, seriously, why are Star Trek movies not doing $1 billion?
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
I didn't hit. Oh. There's no reason why a Star Trek movie should not be doing $1 billion. I'll tell you why. Because science fiction writers are not writing Star Trek. People that are truly science fiction passionate, science fiction passionate, they're not writing. I know. I lived in Los Angeles for 20 years. The stuff. Did I go blurry? It'll fix. The stuff that makes you. Science has been driven by science fiction, like going right back in time. And even some of the stuff that we're talking about now, about creating warp drives, if science fiction writers aren't in charge of if you want to get, you know, activists, feminist activists writing Star Wars movies, I have nothing against Benet Choi or whatever her name is. Whatever. What the fuck are you doing writing a Star Wars? Where's your passion in science fiction? And you know what I think people have got to do, what we have to do as like a collection of science fiction enthusiasts, and everyone's sort of in their own little vein, what we like, there's got to be new franchises that are created. We've lost Star Trek. I mean, Paramount's done. They've almost put the nail in the coffin of that baby. Star Wars? Have you seen Ahsoka? Have you seen The Acolyte? Have you seen The Acolyte? Oh my freaking Lord. Every science fiction lover, after watching The Acolyte, literally just after each episode, you just walk to the bathroom and you spend like 20 minutes in the bathroom. After every episode of The Acolyte. I'm telling you. After season 2, episode 9 of the Star Trek dancing one, I'm telling you spend an hour in the bathroom recovering from that shit. Science fiction writers are not in charge of the writing of science fiction, and it's hurting. It's hurting the dreams. Although there are some pockets where it's still working. The Halo video, which I'm going to release on Sunday, is going to be interesting. But anyway, let's keep going.
Without a way to control, slow down, or change directions, the ship would be at the mercy of the warp bubble's path, which could be impossible to control. This poses serious problems for navigation. If the bubble travels in a straight line at speeds that are faster than light, there would be no time to make course corrections or adjustments along the way.
So basically the problem is when you create the warp bubble, you can't steer a warp bubble. You need to find, it's almost like the hyperdrive in Star Wars. Or even Dune, which is crazy, right? The spice, the guild navigators that take the spice. I love Dune's version of FTL. Like, and they get there like it basically instantly, right? But these writers, Frank Herbert and George Lucas, and the whole idea of this stuff, they knew that you were going to go through space and be hitting some serious shit, right? So they needed to navigate through high gravity situations, high radiation situations. I think Dune, like I'm so excited for Dune 3. This is the Lord of the Rings of our time. And if you're missing it and you're not really appreciating what Denis Villeneuve is doing, you're missing it. This is some real exciting stuff in terms of what is. It's not possible. It's not feasible. But a warp drive, it's another thing. If you can't steer a warp bubble, you got to take the directions, and you're not going to go in the warp bubble with a steering wheel. It doesn't work that way. You pick one direction, and if you make the wrong calculation and you hit a planet, well, it's going to be kind of like the Titan submersible. You know, you're dead. You can't steer a warp bubble. That is a matter of fact. This is a problem, right? Now, there's a lot of space, right? There's space is, you know, four light years to Proxima Centauri, our closest neighbor. So space is not an issue between space.
This lack of control could cause the ship to overshoot its destination by millions or billions of miles, or even get lost in deep space with no way back.
You see, like, where are you guys? I think we're a few billion miles away. You guys, someone miscalculated this, man. Someone
But by far the biggest challenge,
I love this. If there's a Star Trek scene from a Star Trek movie, this scene is just fucking amazing.
is that there is no feasible mechanism for creating a warp bubble. Even in theoretical physics, we don't have a way to practically create or maintain the necessary space-time conditions for a warp bubble.
That scene is amazing. I couldn't play the whole thing because I'm surprised I actually got away with playing that much on the video. But that scene is like, there's some stuff that comes from, what's his name? J.J. Abrams. That is kind of, you know, some visuals were pretty, but you know what? He didn't do it. It's the probably there is some guys in the back that are Star Trek passionate, and they were doing the special effects, and they probably, you know.
The drive relies on mathematics and theory rather than practical engineering or experimental evidence. In other words, while we can describe the concept on paper, there's no actual process or machine we could build that would produce a warp bubble, nor do we know if it is possible. To create a warp drive, we would need a completely new understanding of physics and the ability to manipulate space-time and exotic forms of energy on an unprecedented scale. We would need materials that may or may not exist, and engineering concepts that may not even be possible.
And those are just a few of the problems, right? We need alloys that are so rugged, durable, and strong. We basically need adamantium. We need adamantium. That's to build a starship. That's part of the. I mean, that's part of the. That's one of the prerequisites. We need energy beyond anything we've ever seen. Fusion is not enough. Fusion energy is not enough. You literally need the matter antimatter. Yes, and then when you do come up, let's say you do come up with the energy, and you do come up with the alloy strong enough to build a USS Enterprise. You need the engineering. Like, how do you build the bubble, keep the bubble, and then shoot the bubble without the bubble collapsing? If that bubble collapses at any point in time, in Star Trek, it looks great because Captain Kirk just goes, ahead warp factor 6, or, you know, I guess that's more Picard. Usually, I've watched the entire original Star Trek series on Paramount. I just love it. If you know, I watch it going to sleep. It soothes me. You know, I love William Shatner was the best freaking captain, and his relationship with Spock. This is movie TV magic that this is rare, and I don't think it's enough credit. But they make it look easy. It's so easy. It's like he's sitting in his chair. It's like, you know, Sulu, Chekhov, I hit warp factor 4. What? It's like that's that easy. And if you think of warps, right? Some people have suggested it's like a bubble over a bubble over a bubble. I've heard that said, that a warp 4 is like 4 consecutive bubbles. That's hard to believe. That's hard to believe. I would think, my thought would have been that you just make a larger differential between the front and the back. That would have been my thought. But I like, do I look like an astrophysicist? I'm a screenwriter. I rely on you people to tell me this. But I do deep research when I go into like doing these videos. I do very deep. But there's no answers. That's the thing. There's no answers. I mean, it's not like you call Brian Cox. Yeah, Brian, hey, it's, can you give me an answer on this? No, there's no answers. I mean, you go as deep as you can trying to find the answers. There's no answers.
Currently, these ideas exist far outside our technological abilities, and it's uncertain if they could ever be realized. While the Alcubierre warp drive is an intriguing concept that allows us to imagine faster than light travel without breaking the laws of physics, it faces enormous scientific and technological obstacles. The energy required is beyond our current capacity. The need for negative energy is still theoretical, and the safety and control issues make it unrealistic. At present, warp speed remains a dream of science fiction, without major breakthroughs in our understanding of physics. The Alcubierre warp drive will remain a fascinating concept that showcases the potential of theoretical science, but it's not something humanity will likely achieve anytime soon.
This visual of the Star Trek, the Vengeance going after the USS Enterprise. So they went into warp. So it's basically in a warp. That one's, I mean, it's hard to buy. It's hard to buy. Because so you would have to know. So the USS Enterprise shoots off in a warp bubble. It would have to have certain. So could the Vengeance determine what was the path? Well, it probably could. You got to assume that these guys have got freaking super duper computers, right? That they could figure out exactly where the USS Enterprise is flying off to. But then what you're talking about is the Vengeance going into the USS Enterprise's warp bubble, and so now you see the Vengeance shoot. The visual looks awesome, right? It looks freaking awesome. So I'm going to replay it. This visual,
and the safety and control issues
looks awesome.
Make it unrealistic. At present, warp speed remains a dream of science fiction, without major breakthroughs in our understanding of physics. The Alcubierre warp drive will remain a fascinating concept that showcases the potential of theoretical science, but it's not something humanity will likely achieve anytime soon.
So you see the people getting sucked out into the warp bubble. It would be very hard to think that that the Vengeance could just catch up at that precision with the USS Enterprise, come into its warp bubble, start shooting, and then people just get sucked out like going outside of a car window, right? But the thing, it's science fiction. Like you don't need to go. You need in science fiction and science fiction movies, just like Star Trek, you need science close, science-ish. Like the Fantastic Four was pure science stupid. Fantastic Four was pure science stupid. Star Trek, you just need it to be science close, like science approximate, right? Interstellar was science very, very close. And that's Christopher Nolan. That's what he does, right? But this scene, the Vengeance USS Enterprise scene, and of course then the USS Enterprise like spins out of control, pops out of the warp bubble like it's nothing, like it's just like a Sunday drive. Oh shit, we got okay. This it's a great visual, but it doesn't.
I'd like to thank you for exploring the Alcubierre warp drive with us, and invite you back for our next episode of A Godless Universe.
Well, that was. Oh, thank you. Studio audience, thank you. The studio audience is very, very kind, very kind. I need some water. So most of us don't do, right? We don't drink enough water. Most of us don't drink enough water. You guys ever shop on Temu? I have. I got stories. I got stories about Temu. Oh, we'll go through them. Believe me. Maybe on Christmas Day on the 8-hour show. I'll show you some of my Temu purchases. A lot of my Temu purchases have not worked out. They have not worked out very well. Some have. I bought this desk on Temu and I saved $350 on Temu. I swear to God. But some of my other Temu purchases have not worked. On Christmas Day, I'm going to go through some of my Temu purchases. I bought one thing. I bought this. So I needed a dishwasher, like, you know, hand wash dishes, and you put the plastic thing that you put the dishes on. What I got was for hobbits. It was like this fucking big. It wouldn't even fit one plate. Not even one plate. It was for hobbits. I'm like, what do you want me to do with this? Oh my God, Temu. Like, it is comedy. Like, seriously. Christmas Day, 8 hours. I'm doing 8 hours on Christmas Day. If you're not doing anything on Christmas, you don't have family, come hang out with me. Like, I'll show you some of this. I'll show you how dumb I can be. I will show you how dumb I can be. I was also smart. I did some purchases. But anyway, guys, that's the warp drive. That's the Star Trek warp drive. That's part one. Like, this is a never-ending conversation that we're going to have about warp drives. And it's not going to be a 1 hour show, 2 hour show, 3 hour show. Warp drives is like from today. I've done, I think, 5 or 6, 7 different videos on warp drives and Star Trek, and it's endless. So my latest video is actually doing really well. I mean, the channel is growing, so I thank everyone for jumping in and helping and supporting. I will never ask for a subscribe. I will never fucking ask anyone. And if anyone, I will never say, watch till the very end, because that's where I give you some real cool shit. If someone ever tells me that watching a video, I am out. I know how subscribe works, and I don't need to be told by the video creator to watch to the end. Fuck you. Okay, that's me being angry right there. You want to see me angry? You just saw it. Okay, that's. I wonder if you get demonetized with. I think it's just in the beginning of the video that you shouldn't swear. At the end, I think it's okay. So guys, so the warp drive, you know, there's a lot of issues, huge issues. I know the Alcubierre drive did the physics, he did the math, and it works out. But the energy consumption, the engineering, the alloys, the everything that you need, the testing phase. Could you imagine the first testing phase of, you know, we're going to waste an entire planet like Jupiter, convert it to energy, and we're going to try a test and create one warp bubble. Are you sure if you take Jupiter out of the solar system, things aren't going to go very well? We need the gravity of Jupiter to hold the planets in place. You just can't convert Jupiter into energy. Where do you get that energy from? I know antimatter doesn't exist. Are we going to find it? Maybe. Doesn't look like it. And every time someone points to the technological advances that we've done, it's all been within our atmosphere. Everything. When you start doing engineering out in space, that's why we don't engineer a whole lot. We're only doing tests up in the space station. We're only doing tests. We're not engineering anything up there. We're bringing up like hamsters and rats and seeing if when they eat like Captain Crunch, if they get a sore roof of their mouth like everyone else does on Earth. That's the sign. I mean, it's a little bit more complicated than that. But do you know when you eat Captain Crunch, the roof of your tongue gets like... That's the science some people are interested in. And that's okay, because it is science. It's biological science. So guys, you know, like I say, next week, I'm gonna let me reiterate this, because it's the only time I'm going to talk about Charlie Kirk, who is now CK. Tuesday, I'm going to go through all the things. I want you guys to hear what I say about CK, okay? I think the answer is simple. I think the answer is quite simple. I haven't heard anyone say what I will say on Tuesday. And when I give all the facts, I won't show the video, but the video's out there. You can go find it yourself. When I put everything through and I say, this is what I think, is because of common sense and science. It's not because of the science that we know. It's science omission. People are taking things and they're just inserting stuff. Well, what if we've already long established that this couldn't happen? Why are you still talking about it? Like, and this is the only time I will talk about CK. After Tuesday, I'm done. I'm not, after that, I'm not getting it. Tuesday, it's actually Veterans Day, I think Remembrance Day, Canada, Veterans Day in the United States. Hey, this is an international broadcast, motherfuckers. I spent half of my life, my adult life, in America, and half of my adult life in Canada. So I am literally both. I am, what was that? Yeah, never mind. And then, of course, Underworld, Kate Beckinsale. You know, there's Kate. She's watching. Kate's always watching. I love Kate Beckinsale. She just did so amazing. Yes, I did like the black shiny leather, but she looked good. She also acted it amazingly well. The character came across like it was almost literally, the characters was so well done that how she looked, of course, the male gaze, it's okay. The male gaze is okay when someone looks that good. But she acted it in a way that brought that character. So December 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, we are doing the Underworld series. We are going into the Underworld. And Xmas Day, 8 hours. Xmas Eve, 4 hours. And again, Tuesday, I'm doing Charlie Kirk just once. It's the only time I'm doing Charlie Kirk. That's it, CK. That's the only time. I'm going to go through all the steps, all the evidence, and that's congratulations to Elon Musk on the $1 trillion package. He's got a lot of hurdles to cross, though. It's not as simple as a lot of the media is going to make it sound. He's got, if you are a shareholder of Tesla, and Elon Musk achieves everything that is in his agreement to get that stock, you are going to be rich, my friend. That Tesla stock will be it'll be 4 or 5 times the size of NVIDIA. Listen to this. This is the funniest laugh on YouTube. This is as much size as anything else is, my friends. It goes longer. If that's content, okay? I'm a creator. That's what I create. I'm an influencer. I influence people through stupid laughs. This is what I do. This is how I plan to build this show. I got nothing else. That's the show. Guys, that's it. That's the show. Till next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every week. 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Mountain. Oh, by the way, I am going for the Steelers because Aaron Rodgers has a chance to do the Super Bowl. I want Aaron Rodgers to win a Super Bowl before he says bye. It could happen, motherfucker. It could happen. Yeah. I mean, I'm a Steelers fan. I never was. I was never a Steelers fan. I am now a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I will be watching on Sunday. Oh, and Sunday I'm going to release the Halo video, the Halo propulsion system. Any Halo fans out there? It's very interesting. Very interesting. So remember that Halo video on Sunday. Charlie Kirk we're doing on Tuesday. Oh, it's the only time I'm going to say anything. It's the only time, one time, the science of it. I'll do the science of it. And beyond that, I want you guys to have a rockin' kick-ass weekend. I do. I'm going to be working. You don't work. I don't work. It's just fun. But I want you guys. Oh, I do have another channel, Poprageous. Poprageous, we just do movies. And if you want to do just pure movie stuff, I'm doing Avatar on Saturday. Poprageous. But anyway, lots of stuff going on. I thank you for spending time with me on a godless universe, and I will see you on Monday, November 10th. Ciao.
Dressed in black on black, she got a Filipino Yeah, she discovered it's gotta be a sexual thing. Now all around the world, our girls will be girls. It's the same old situation. It's the same old ball and chain. I say no, 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 no. Come on. Now check this out. He introduced me to a lover in a cellophane dress. Then it beat me, I sweet that well. Last time I saw them, they were kissing so softly to the sound of wedding bells. Well, all around the world, our girls will be girls.
Okay, children, let's take our seats.
Yeah, baby. We'll do it live. Fuck it.